for EnVy and is working his way around the 3rd floor to get some better LOS onto the survivors, knocking a couple doors out of the way. And I think now what's going to happen is, like, they're going to have to maybe commit this tank after 1 or 2 rocks. They have a Smoker Boomer and a Hunter for this hit.
Not the best hit for this for Tri-Rock right now, so we'll see how they can make the best out of it. Going in, nice key from Brian coming out. Buck going in. Boomer going in gets a nice single on the Brian, but other than that, nothing really landed on Pt.4.
Yep, and they do have the tank at first pass on 35% still here, trying to do the best that it can to keep sight, but Kimchi is going to probably be forced to commit soonish, doing a good job keeping sight and taking no chip on 30% frustration on that first pass. Let's see if they decide to send this hit in. I think they probably will. Jockey, Hunter, and Charger are going to be going in for Team EnVy on this hit. Jockey's going to bounce around, not able to land quite yet. Now does manage to land onto Coach. Rock gets skeeted. Charger goes in for the Hunter target and does not manage to land after that pounce was quickly cleared. And I don't know, Dina, I think the best way to get damage here, honestly, on Special Infected side is to push the survivors underneath those walkways.
Yeah, that's I think the best way to make damage, because you get like 3 rocket spawns for the SI as well. And yeah, Kimchi already has second pass, so he has to commit to the next set of spawns. It's gonna be a Smoker, Boomer, and a Jock. It's actually the worst 2-1 I think you can get on this tank, in my opinion.
Yeah, that Jockey's gonna really have to do some magic tricks to manage to land on the survivors. Let's see if he's able to do so, as Kimchi is working his way around and will now be going in with this tank. Boomer misses, however. Prove getting popped right there. That is huge for the survivors now, who are able to kite this tank around so well. That is going to be a Smoker pull, setting up an early corner for this tank. Dusty is going to be almost in-cap by this, and that is going to be the in-cap going on to him. But that's about the only damage that they got, Dina.
That's a better take than what EnVy had on their survivor half. So good stuff coming out of reHAB. They can get those 6 cans up right now, and maybe even get more prior to the second tank.
Indeed they could. This Spitter is going to be up in the hands of Prove now, so that scavenge defense is going to be what Team EnVy is looking for. But every can the Team reHAB puts in is just another example of that score delta growing smaller and smaller. There is that pounce, though, landing on to Ellis with a slow get up, but that's going to be Dave not taking an in-cap, saving the gas can as well. Thanatos doing the best that he can to get all these cans over, and now they are going to start pouring. That's going to be just the Spitter up still in the hands of Prove, sending in that hit right now, but it's really not going to work. Great juggling once again by Team reHAB, and Dina, it's obvious that they practiced this.
Like, I feel like reHAB did like the best performance out of like planned finales. As I said, a double kept coming out on the survivor, so decent amount of damage coming out. But like I said, like finale wise, reHAB, when I saw the scrims, they did the best out of all teams, I feel like.
Exactly, and I think that one of the reasons for that, look at that high pounce though, going out by Kane onto Brian, but that's not going to stop the cans from being filled. And the most important thing about these cans is that each one that the Special Infected burn obviously makes the survivors go back up into the 2nd and 3rd floor, but each one the survivors are able to pour in, they're going to be getting more and more distance points. Already at that 6 out of 13, Boomer's going to go in as well, gets a single boom, and they're going to have to kill another tank. But after that, look at the score delta, Dina. It's only about an 1,200 point game.
If Pt.4 can get like 2 or 3 more cans, it's going to be like a below 1k deficit, and this could be really good going into their home game on the EU server.
Exactly, and we will be seeing that right after the conclusion of this server, Japanese server, I should say, in that second half of this match. Jockey's going to land onto Dusty with a Charger going in as well. The Charger gets almost infinite charge onto that display in the middle of the mall there, but instead, that's going to be a Jockey landing now onto Ellis, and this should be the last tank of this game coming up for Team EnVy at some point relatively soon.
They gotta be careful, because Dusty's are black and white, so if Tank is focusing Dusty and gets the corner, he could maybe get killed, so...
That's a great point, because that first in-cap went out during that last tank. Dusty's going to have to stay very, very far away from this tank, and he does not want to get caught out in a way that would have him die prior to getting those distance points and completing this finale. The last tank, though, of this first match is up in the hands of Prove once again for Team EnVy, and it looks as though they are going to keep pouring the cans despite the fact that the tank is up. There's a rock landing onto Nick and a high pounce going out onto Dusty from deck there. This tank is going to be climbing up, but that is the same score, if I'm not mistaken, right, Dina, that we saw Team EnVy get on their survivor side already. Yeah, I think they 7 cans.
I believe they got 7 cans and maybe 8, I'm not sure, but that's almost the same what they had.
Yeah, it's going to be a Jockey Smoker and a Charger coming in for this hit, as this tank is going to be jumping back in, missing a punch though. Charger is going to land, Jockey going to land as well. Tank is missing a rock though onto that, turning back around, getting the in-cap now though onto Dungeon, aka Spongy. Tank is still throwing rocks at the survivors as they juke around these kiosks, but that tank is going to be now climbing his way out with 832 HP left to his name. The survivors are not dead yet though. As this tank keeps moving around the side, they're going to be able to get this pickup too.
I'm surprised tank is still alive. Like, they did a good job of shutting down the tank pretty much. I know they're low on health, but like, even killing the second tank is pretty impressive because they look pretty bad after like the first couple hits after the first tank.
Exactly, and now this Hunter Smoker are going to be looking to pull one of these survivors probably forward. Hunter going for a DP, not going to land it as the survivors are moving their way back up. This tank has 18 HP left and is now going to die. That means they're going to get a spitter back in the rotation, but every one of these cans now that Team reHAB throws down is going to be an advantage on this server.
Like, they can get like those two cans in, and they will make it like I think a 1k difference, like exactly 1k.
Yeah, it's gonna be either 1k or
less.
less.
Spitz landing though. This could be a burn. Oh, good job. Oh no,
he dropped it back in.
Oh my god, they almost he almost like threw it away.
Indeed he did. Charger is going to land, and they're going to have to go down there and help those cans out because that spitter is going to have a recharge super fast. But Spongy already on it, as is Dusty. There's the Jockey though going out on to Coach for that in cap. They're going to try to pour these cans in as fast as they possibly can. There is a little bit more distance coming from that. The Smoker's going to get pulled on to Rochelle. Charger is going to miss. Dusty though is still alive and is somehow still fast. That means he's going to be able to clear off these common and start putting these cans in pretty much while Nick lays there. That's another one going in and another one going in. Now they're going to have 10 cans on this, and Dina, there's your less than 1k points.
And they also have one more can to fill in. This is big for reHAB right now, like bringing it below 1k difference on the away game.
That is absolutely monumental, especially against a team like EnVy. There's Rochelle putting that can in, double charge lands, but already I would think it's safe to say the damage is done by Team reHAB onto Team EnVy on EnVy's home server. 2,766 to 1,837 is what we're looking at here. And at this point, I mean, that's going to be just Spongy starting to make his way down, but what an incredible performance, honestly, by Team reHAB, Dina.
Definitely, like, this is like what they needed on the away game, and I mean, it sounds pretty weird, but I don't think they had like a EU server home game in like I think the last 10 tourney games, because like they kept winning in away, so I can't wait to see what they're doing. EU server, like EU server reHAB is pretty scary.
Yeah, and that's what we are about to see next, and there is that final score once again for this home server game for EnVy, 2,766 to 1,837. Really amazing performance by Team reHAB on their special infected side. I think that 3-cap on map 1 during the tank was just utterly unreal to see them land, and we are expecting something similar to that from both these teams as they continue going forward. You know, but less than 1k points, Dina, I'm not feeling comfortable about that whatsoever if I'm EnVy.
Definitely, like EnVy needs a supreme like infected or survivor side to actually like win this, because like 1k 4 chapters, that's nothing for reHAB right there.
Indeed, we're about to be getting on to that next server as well, I think, pretty soon.
Let's see if Day's gonna get into server. Yeah, it looks like he's already like going, so I'm gonna join him. You can join off of me. Just waiting on both teams to join.
Indeed we are.
Thanks to one already set, so we're just waiting on, I think it is... Waiting on Kane and Bullies, and we're good to go.
Indeed it is, and now, I mean, this 26% tank looms here because it is possible, of course, to get a wipe on the away server, as we saw just happen, but EnVy are going to be hard-pressed to do that unless they're able to get something like that triple cap that we saw, because the survivors can pretty easily juke the tank around these air conditioning units or whatever the hell they are, the electrical boxes. But this is going to be something now where, I mean, Team EnVy, if they start on Survivor side, they just cannot afford a wipe here. I think they got to play much better than they did on that first map one that we saw on the other server.
Definitely, if they make safer release and do like the same on the infected half, like wiping or maybe like doing big damage, this could be like maybe a momentum swing. But I think the favor is right now for Team reHAB.
Let's see, because I don't know, that's, after they straighten the teams out, we'll be able to see who wants to go Survivor or Infected first. Looking at the pings here, though, Deck is getting a solid 160-something, and then Kimchi, Kane, and Prove are all pinging in the red there to this EU server, which is not really anything out of the norm, but it's something where the teams are going to have those balanced pings. I just still am completely, like, I can't say enough about what Team reHAB just did on that away server with the same amount of ping. If there's one team, though, that can replicate that on their special infected side, it is going to be Team EnVy, just because they have such a smart way of playing Survivor and special infected. I wouldn't be surprised to see something similar happen, but it's going to take a lot of work from them. They're going to have to play a very, very strong game here on this EU server to have a chance of that happening.
Definitely. Like, these are pretty even. Like, Kane and Proof both get to 50, so does Kimchi. Basically what Pt.4 had, except Dusty. And Dusty at 140, Dex at 160, so pings are pretty even for like both games in my opinion.
Let's see who gets Survivor Infected first, too. I think Deck is going to be probably moving to that special infected side. Actually, no. They're going to be spectating so that Team EnVy can have Survivor first. Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm not really sure how much it matters in a game like this when it's home and away going Survivor first, but on that ping, this will be the time when we're wanting to see Team reHAB just go absolutely wild on their special infected. And, I mean, EnVy's playstyle, right, is still kind of similar to how it was back in the day in terms of how they take a map like that with a lot of baiting, but on the higher ping, they're probably going to be looking to do even more of that.
Definitely. I think we're all on the server, so I believe I can limit lots to 17, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
right.
Go for it. We're going to have, like I said, a shout out to the number of streamers who are also just broadcasting this game, because this is one of the best games we've seen in the tournament so far. It was electric on the other server, and now we are going to be having that second game of 2 on the EU server, Team reHAB's home server, as it is in this game. I don't know about this, Dina. This could still go either way, I'd say, but that less than 1,000 point deficit is going to put a lot of pressure on EnVy to do well.
I think this first map is gonna like show us how this EU game's gonna go, so we'll see how that will work out for both teams.
Yeah, and this early tank here, honestly, if the tank can get an early corner on one of the two guns, that is almost a guaranteed wipe, but an early corner on anybody as well, if someone gets stuck on something or has to move their way around, you know, that is something that the survivors cannot afford. They cannot afford to make that kind of mistake in this spot right now, but they are readying up, as we do have Dungeon tagging up for Team reHAB, aka Spongy. We're about to take it live after they ready up, and honestly, in this position, I would expect them to, like, probably sack for the 3 cap or something like that, but they also have a spitter on this first hit, so they could do some decent amount of damage.
Definitely. Like, wait, what's it again? Charge, yes, charge spit with a smoker and jockey. This could be a big separation for Team EnVy right there.
We are going to be going live with Team EnVy on the Survivor side and Team reHAB on the Special Infected. Once again, for Team EnVy, it's going to be Kimchi, Deck, Kane, and Prove. And who do we have for Team reHAB, Dina?
Same lineup's going to be Dusty, Dave aka Soul, Dungeon aka Spongy, and Whisper aka Brian.
Exactly. The only person who's kept their alias consistent is Dusty on that team, and that is honestly fine because every time this team has played in competitive Left 4 Dead 2, we've seen them be pretty extraordinary over the past couple years. So let's see if they're able to keep that going here as EnVy are working their way into the hallway. Smoker's going to get juked, but that's going to be a Charger stumble into spit. Oh my goodness, that is...
What a hit.
What is going on? EnVy are getting absolutely massacred off that first hit, and there's an in-cap already onto Prove. Dina, we were just mentioning the fact that they wanted to continue that momentum as a team. What an amazing special infected hit, and they are not back in the safe room yet.
I figured Dave's gonna come in right now, but he just decided to hold back. But what a hit by Pt.4 right now, like full incap on approved. Dex down to 47 HP, so he's 2 punch, he's not committing pills, so this is not looking good for EnVy right now. Let's see what they can do with the tank. We're going in. Nice pop though for Confident Kimchi.
Those are the kinds of plays that Team EnVy need to be making on Survivor. That was already disastrous. It brought their health bonus down to 58.1%, and their damage bonus also starting to get affected at 95%. That was exactly what Team reHAB were looking for, and now they're going to be having this Charger Hunter and one other spawn coming into queue. Is going to be that Jockey, so this could be the commit for Dave's tank. He's looking to get that wipe and potentially a 3-cap like we saw on the last half on the opposing server for them. He's going to start rolling it in right now, working his way up the stairs, getting shot just a bit, down to about 5k HP now, getting that first corner though onto Ellis, nice, and then retargeting onto Coach. Deck getting knocked around this safe room, another punch going out onto Ellis. SI are there, and now that's going to be a double punch as all 3 survivors go for, all 3 special infected go for Nick rather. That's going to be what looks like a wipe potentially. Ellis is trying to clear the Charger. Double punch going out again. This is going to be Team reHAB getting this wipe. He breaks the smiley face right before that last punch.
BM coming out from Dave, and what a tank once more. Like, what a support as well. Like, Dave saw that both survivors are pushing for the infected. He was turning around, got a free double punch inside, and that basically sealed the deal right there.
So that is going to be Team EnVy wiping on both their server and the away server to this map 1 tank. I mean, honestly, if Team reHAB are able to, you know, survive this tank, right, and even make safe room with only distance points, that would be almost half of Team EnVy's lead from their home server already gone just on the first map. We did see a death charge come out on the other half where I think it was Deck who managed to land that, but this is now crucial on this tank, and this first hit is as well. Spitter, Jockey, Smoker, Charger, Dina as reHAB work their way down.
Let's see if they can do like close to what Pt.4 did on their half.
They might be able to, because that Charger Spitter can be pretty vicious in this area, but that ping advantage is going to show itself for Team reHAB. There's the Smoker pull going in, full charge spit, managing to land on to Coach. So not quite the same amount of damage we saw go out in the last half, but not too shabby either.
Well, like some decent damage out of Dave, but nothing compared to what EnVy got like on their half. So yeah, tanks up in the hands of Proof. See if you can get like another good tank like you have map 3 like on the Japan server.
Yeah, that was an amazing tank he played there. This one's a bit more straightforward, although one thing that we should mention is that throwing rocks in the safe room is not an amazing idea because the rock hitbox in the safe room is only the survivor's model. It's not that extra long rock hitbox that you've seen in different spots, but that's going to be a single boom going out. Prove trying to throw a rock directly up to catch one of the survivors out there. Hunter and Jockey for his other 2 spawns. I don't think it's possible for him to hitbox them there either. This common is going to be mostly dead, but the tank is working its way up and in with this. So here comes the tank in the hands of Proof. Managing to get an initial punch onto Rochelle, getting a corner now onto Coach. That's going to be
nice
the double punch going out as well. There's the in cap onto Coach, and another multi-punch going out. Charger is going to be one. There's the Jockey too. Oh my goodness, this is, he missed a punch there onto Rochelle, and now Dungeon is back up, aka Spongy. Multi-punch now going out in the corner. That is going to be, that's a missed punch. Another missed punch again. Dusty! Oh my goodness, Dusty just single-handedly saved a wipe, and Prove is not happy about that.
That was so close to wipe, but somehow he still punched the guy away and got cleared. And Dusty just saved them this wipe almost. So what the hell? Speechless.
Wow. That is an incredible circumstance for Team reHAB, and just something that's probably going to piss EnVy off, if I have to be honest. That's one of those situations where getting juked in that area, I don't know why exactly semi-jukes seem to work a lot more in that safe room, but that is something where Dusty was able to keep jumping and kind of just avoid the special infected there at his will. And I thought that was going to be a wipe in the other corner there because Prove had one of the other survivors locked up, but Dina, that's how close this game can be. And honestly, at this point, Team reHAB, they have one person perma-slow, but they need to just try to make it to the elevator in this case.
Let's see if they can get another GC or what happened in the home game, and they will have probably almost the same setup. Instead of the quad, they only have like a spitter, so Jockey, Hunter, and a charger.
Indeed, they do. And now that spitter is still going to be up as well. The survivors are going to be forced outside onto this ledge with the SI Ray to spawn above them from that 3rd floor. It's going to be a Jockey Hunter and a Charger, Dina, and that death charge is a possibility.
Absolutely. Setting up from above again like last time. Spitter going in, gets a nice spit out of Dusty though. Good free spit coming out.
Every single hit here matters because of the survivors still working their way forward. They're already starting to erase that score delta, though, from the Japanese server. Jockey is going to spawn up, get the in-cap onto Rochelle. Charter is not going to land there, but that spit spread does onto Dungeon, aka Spongy. They're trying to push the spitter as well, but the spitter is going to be working its way through the map forward to then wait to hit the survivors again before they get into that elevator.
Brian is black and white, so if they manage to kill Brian before the elevator, they will lose a decent amount of distance points. So we'll see if they can make that.
It's gonna be some separation.
I don't mind. Go for spitter. Go for the pull. Nice cut coming out from Dave. Boomer getting popped.
Dave is just gonna be looking right now to M2 that Jockey, but he actually went for the swipe on the Jockey in the midair. I'm pretty sure. Versus that dead stop. Now more spit's gonna go in, and this is the separation.
Nice spit.
That is exactly what Team EnVy were looking for, and there is going to be one survivor, black and white already, with being Brian, aka Wristburner, right? But now Dave is also going to be black and white when they pick him back up, and they're probably going to try to send this Charger hit in prior to the elevator. Charger spawning in the elevator, actually.
It's pretty big, actually, if he's going. I decided not to go for that. Hunter going in. They're gonna go. Boomer going in. Gets popped nicely, though, by Spongy. Landing. Charger decided not to go, actually. I'm surprised.
Already though, right, even though it is their home server and they've taken so much damage, Team reHAB are cutting into that lead from EnVy. They already are about 200 points into it from that last server. And at this point, you know, holding W, working their way towards the safe room is exactly what they need to do on this map. And then next map, of course, all 4 survivors are going to have guns and it's going to be a harder tank to deal with. So I am really nervous right now. If I am Team EnVy, I gotta be real.
Definitely.
Gonna be that 3-cap with spit here too. Jockey, Smoker, Charger, and Dina. Let's see exactly what happens on this hit.
He's gonna run out. Smoker go for the pull. Gets the Bachata going in. Gets nice shot down though by the survivors. Jockey gets them as well. Pull landing once more into the fire and almost in-capping Spongy. But yeah, still decent amount coming out. But everyone is pretty much on almost like 2 to 3 health. So they gotta be careful about this next hit.
Exactly. Dave is gonna find a set of pills right there and give it to one of his black and white teammates. But this is going to be 3 survivors, right, sitting at close to single-digit HP. You got 5 HP on Dusty, you got 4 HP on Dungeon, and you also have black and white Dave with only 9 HP now. The fire would probably decimate them if they even got close to it, but it's going to be that Hunter, Spitter, Charger, and Boomer for this next hit. That Boomer is going to spawn in the back and get a nice double boom onto Ellis and Rochelle, but they actually just sent the support spawns here, Dina. They might be looking for that quad.
It might be to go right now because they can maybe get scratched. 100 pre-spawn already like back in the fire. Got nicely found out by Spongy though. Gets shot down nicely. That was pretty sick. It's Charger coming in right now and he might be opting to go in front alone. We'll see. Still waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean, Ellis is going to work his way forward at the same time. Spongy is now going to be looking to actually get in-cap.
That's a wipe!
There's the wipe going out with that Smoker landing in the back as well onto Wristburner. But once again, Dina, it was a pretty sloppy map for Team Frag 4 because of just, I think, the fact it's dead center map 1, right? But reHAB are now making 300 of those points back from a sub 1,000 point game on the other server. So they cut that lead in thirds.
Yeah, they're already like only down by 650 points, and those next 2 maps I think are the most important ones. So I think EnVy can get a wipe on this map 2 thing because this map 2 thing is pretty tricky to play. Because EnVy played it pretty well, but we'll see what they can do in the away game and what Frag 4 can do in their home game. If they maybe wipe reHAB here on the map 2 and make it at least maybe to the tank and maybe further, they could bring the lead like back up again. So yeah.
Exactly, and it's going to be a tough tank to deal with because of the position that the survivors are going to be in that street. I mean, they're able to definitely handle it on their side, right? Especially for a team like reHAB playing on their home server, but I think for them, right, that's going to be a point of popping the Boomer and just not eating the hittable, depending on what Team EnVy's tank decides to do as well. Tank spawn is at 54. And we need a quick respec because of the special infected not being able to see their full hit, I'm pretty sure.
Respec, well, just in case.
There we go, there we go. That looks better. Alright. So we should be able to be going live now with Dusty and Dungeon just waiting to ready up for Team Rehab. I mean, this first hit also can do a fair amount of damage depending on what they get, but if they don't have like a hit with a spitter, it's going to be, again, just getting out of the safe room, not getting multi-boom, shutting down some of the SI, and then moving forward. They should be able to do that on Team Rehab side pretty easily, though. And we are going to be going live now with the second map of this home game for Team Frag4, the second game of this series between EnVy and Frag4, which has given us everything we could have asked for so far. Still an extremely close game, and Kane is going to be this tank at 54%, Dina.
We're going in, it's going right now. Hana going in, gets shot down, Channel landing for a brief amount, so does Smoker. So, not the worst, but also not the best coming out from EnVy. Still, like, decent chip damage on Dungeon and Dusty.
Exactly, it was not the prettiest hit going in, but it did get 17 damage. Those red pings for Team EnVy pretty much matching what we saw on the other server once again for Team Rehab. I think it's worth mentioning because in a single game format, this would be an even different, more different scenario, I'd say, to deal with, just because the teams would have to, you know, just try to all play through ping on one game. And right now, I mean, honestly, I think Team Rehab have a lot of momentum from that last game, and that first map they managed to make up another 300 points. So long as they are still playing this as well as they are in Survivor, you notice how much they're baiting here. You know, if they're able to capitalize on that, that would be huge. But that's going to be a Hunter landing in the back onto Ellis there. Charger going in as well, looking for the stumble, just trying to stack damage on. Jockey manages to land as well.
That's a lot of damage coming out on the Spongy right there. Alright, and that was Robot doing his part, I guess.
Something like that, yeah. But now we are going to be still going forward here with this next hit as the survivors cross this dumpster area. Boomer, Smoker, Hunter, and a Spitter for the next hit coming in. They're probably going to be doing that on the ladder. Not the ladder, the stairs here, I should say, as the survivors are pushing their way forward. Hunter is already pre-spawned as well.
Can top and go for the wall kick split right there in the corner.
Weapons here!
Looks like the survivors are going to try to bait it as much as possible. Dusty moving his way forward here and also backing up. Now Dave is going to be managing to skeet that Hunter right out of the air. That is what you love to see for Team Rehab on their home server. Boomer and Smoker still trying to get something here, but it's kind of single spawning there, Dana. They didn't have a whole lot they could do.
They got baited pretty hard like there by Frag4, so yeah, we'll see what happens on this tank. Kimchi's a Boomer, he's setting up on the tree to get an arc boom, but yeah, this is like a make or break tank for EnVy right there.
Indeed it is, and I think Proof is probably going to be able to get to where he wants to from this bridge area, right, before the survivors can push up once again. So it really depends on whether or not he can get that wipe with or without this hittable. Now the tank is going to be up for Team EnVy into the hands of Kane, not Proof rather. Boomer, Hunter, and Jockey for his support hit at first. This Boomer's already pre-spawned, working its way around the hedges, but again, the tank has a great position now on the survivors.
Not sure if this boom's gonna land because he's up the second, which is smart, and looks like they're gonna try to go in. Yeah, he's going in actually. Mastermind chip.
Gets the early corner there onto Rochelle. Rochelle, though, managing to M2 that Jockey. Hunter going in, too.
Nice movement there from Brian coming out. Double cap landing, I think? No, it's actually a single cap only. Then cap on a Brian. Car going in.
Oh, that car is out of play now, though, for the tank. And so it's only a one in-cap tank. That, as you said, Dino, was absolutely brilliant movement by Brian.
He actually, like, went up, duked the tank. Like, I think he M2 Jockey and just jumped down to not get, like, separation cap. So this was good stuff there from Brian, and still they have like almost the same bonus with EnVy had on their home server after this tank.
That is something where I think if that tank tries to go for that hittable, the survivors would juke it as we saw last server. I mean, he was able to get an early hit there onto the survivors, but then his SI, right, they had already kind of committed one spawn when he had gone in, right? They only had 2 spawns to their names, so that's not the ideal scenario I think that EnVy were looking for, but that Boomer does manage to get a spawn on top of that bus and does get shut down. Hoping the Charger, Spitter, and Hunter probably are able to do the massive amount of damage inside, but I really don't know. I mean, Team EnVy just don't look as though their SIs are completely in sync right now. I don't know if it's just because of the ping, but it's not the kind of performance you need to have in order to maintain that lead they had from their home server.
Definitely also against reHAB, you need to bring your A game, like the whole 2 games. Yeah, they need to bring down the bonus like by a decent amount, like they got like on their home server. So yeah, we'll see what they can do.
Gonna be a jockey, charger, spitter, and a hunter for this next hit from Team EnVy. Hunter is already pre-spawned in front with the charger looking to go as well. Survivors backing their way up down the hallway again. Jockey's gonna spawn up top too. I mean, this is gonna have the Bane timer come on for Team reHAB, but they've already shot that hunter down to yellow health, and there is the jockey getting M2'd. Charger's gonna go in, managing to land onto Dave with a spit on top of that as well, and now the hunter is gonna get blown out of the sky.
Wow,
there.
what a spread! It actually damaged everyone below there, so that bonus got up by 200 roughly.
Yeah,
What a spit spread!
That was a spit spread plus that shard spit that we saw, and the hunter might have been trying to just pounce somebody else to get a bit more damage, although I think the move there might have been to run down and try to hold the survivors in that spit. Regardless of that, though, it's going to be a jockey, boomer, a smoker, and a charger for the next hit for Team EnVy. And honestly, I mean, right now, Team reHAB don't need to do much of anything. They can just kind of sit here and kill the common as we're seeing them do right now.
Taking one hit inside is usually just try, like, you just have 2 people on the scaffolding in the back and 2 people in front. Actually, they're time to rush out. I'm surprised. Coming in. Unfortunately missing, though.
Yeah, that smoker just going in now at the end. It looks like the survivors are going to be able to move their way forward with this cola. Dave already has the cola in hand as he's jumping across this hedge, making his way downtown to put that in for the survivors. And this actually should be it without any interference, too. That's a huge amount of... I don't know, that's a huge amount of coordination from the survivors. We saw Brian do what he did earlier, and now we also have the survivors getting that cola in without taking a hit in the process. So, absolutely phenomenal survivor play still from Team reHAB. They're looking to keep this bonus as they move. Boomer spawns up, and that is going to be a shutdown. Hunter Spitter jockey for the rest, Dina, but this is Team reHAB, aka Frag4, on their home server doing what they do best.
They can just camp out the last of the bit of the horde, and this rest of the map is pretty open, so I don't think they're gonna get much damage out of it. So this could be a big bonus coming into the safe room.
It could. I mean, that charger, hunter, spitter, and jockey is a pretty scary hit, but not so much for the survivors when they are all completely outside. So that hunter's gonna spawn up actually on the billboard with the call out going in by Spongy, and he's just
dead.
Gonna get slaughtered. My goodness.
Survivor AI having a nice aimbot right there. I don't mean wall hack, like just looking at the hunter and calling it out.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those fortunate situations where the game does the work for you in a way. I mean, that jockey gets shut down as well. Spitter really doesn't have anything going, and this is going to be pretty crushing to Team EnVy, I would say, if Team reHAB are able to work their way in. They're not even committing their pills because they know that they can just have one more hit before the safe room and then use the people who are fast to maybe shoot anything that comes off of that top.
Refugee centers don't usually look this deserted.
I'm still pretty low, so they might get the in-cap. Actually, he decides to go inside safe, which is smart, so you won't get the in-cap. Only the 3 people are outside.
Yep, and there are the 2 slow survivors already working their way in. That's going to be the smoker not landing. The hunter does land, and the charger does land as well. Nice double cap now outside. That's going to be a pretty easy clear, I would say, for Spongy to get that clear onto the smoker. Rochelle is inside the safe room down, being picked up through the safe room door, but that will not matter as much as Team reHAB grow their lead now to 1,515 points to start this game on their home server. And right now, Dina, from the other score of the Japanese home server game for EnVy, they're up by about 600 points.
Yeah, if they get the wipe on EnVy on this map, this could be the neck breaker for EnVy right there, because they did a good job in the end getting some last second damage before the safe room, but I don't think it's enough right now. They need to make this map at least with a decent amount of bonus to bring it back, or maintain their lead.
Exactly. I mean, and now it's really going to be a case of can Team EnVy's survivor side with this ping handle this? And I mean, the home and away system really does have its impact when you see like how high these pings can get into the red, but for Team reHAB it wasn't as much of a problem on the Japanese server, I would say. I mean, this is really impressive by them, and as they keep going forward here, right, like this is obviously a matchup we can see happen again in the playoffs or in the grand finals, but for this game right here, I mean, Dead Center has been pretty unforgiving to the teams with the higher ping, especially during those events. So, let's see. Smoker, Boomer, Charger, Hunter for this first hit now. The Boomer's already pre-spawned to the right, Hunter as well. The Smoker is trying to get some kind of pull for separation, and the Charger is going to be looking to go in too. As the Hunter goes in, near the safe room for these survivors, Smoker trying to get any kind of pull on this after the Hunter lands. Charger goes in though, and is going to take that survivor all the way forward for a long charge that does land, and now you see these common here, Dina. That is going to be the bane of Team EnVy's existence.
sloppy clears coming out. The hunter was like jumping around like in the air like for free and it could have been skeeted, but like apparently they didn't get it. So it's like good damage coming out onto deck right now.
I was gonna say, it's worth mentioning that he took 35 damage of his own on that first hit, including with that long charge. So now, I mean, EnVy already having one player get, you know, pretty much a third of their health gone, right? Over a third of their health gone on the first hit when there was no spitter. That is not something that they want to see on Survivor side. This tank position that they're going to have to deal with can also be extremely precarious because, I mean, one hittable lands and that person could die. Multi-cap lands, they're going to die. It's so many ways that this could possibly go wrong. Like this in a way, because this jockey's going to land onto Rochelle. Hunter lands onto Rochelle now as well. Charter's going to be looking for the stumble and managing to get it, and Deck is going to be hit by the free spit again, and he's down to 46 HP now, Dina.
He's almost down being slow already, and there's also good damage on approved, so good chip coming out from reHAB. But for the away server, EnVy are not doing too bad, I assume. Like, it's gonna be worse, but they're not doing like a bad job right now.
You gotta be real careful when they go inside this next area, right? Like, they have to push up and deal with those stairs. If I'm Team reHAB right now, they might be looking to send this hit as the survivors go over the dumpster instead because they don't have the charger spit in that area. That could also be kind of surprising, though, to EnVy if they're not expecting that hit to go on the dumpster.
Respawning in the back. Yep.
Take it away.
It's going in, Boomer getting popped, Smoker getting pulled for a second, gets cleared though, so does the jockey and a hunter, so small amounts of damage coming out, but overall pretty good shutdown coming out from EnVy. But Deck is slow though, so he will have to commit kills pretty soon.
Honestly, I think instead of hitting on the dumpster there, right, they're probably trying to look for that charge spit to happen on that staircase, but EnVy are going to be trying to race them up that. Charger and Smoker are the only two spawns that are up, and that is going to be a nice take of that choke by Team EnVy. However, there is a Charger spitter now with the Charger already pre-spawned outside. Boomer jumps in and gets a nice double boom. Charger goes in as well. There's the spit going out, and so they had the top dealt with, and now that Smoker's going to get a separation pull forward onto Prove as well. A huge amount of damage going out from that hit.
That was big coming from reHAB, bringing their bonus even lower right now, and we still have a tank coming up. They almost have 2 full end caps on Deck and Proof, and there's still tank coming up from Spongy. Let's see if we can get a redemption tank on this one.
He might be able to, because he's going to have another hit up now as well. It's going to be a Hunter, Jockey, and 2 other spawns. It's going to be the Boomer and the Charger coming into queue now for Team EnVy. I mean, they really... I mean, for Team reHAB rather, but Team EnVy really cannot go forward on this with those spawns up. They have to kind of take the tank down here in the street, and that tank is going to be up into the hands of Dungeon for Team reHAB. Let's see what he's able to do because the survivors are standing on the hittable here, Dina.
Yeah, looks like Boomer's trying to set up behind on the hedge, and Tank is taking his sweet time. He's letting them bleed, which is smart, because like Boomer is actually going in and gets the single boom, and Tank is still like not looking to do anything. He's like waiting around, making them bleed as much as possible, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, that's something where the SI have absolutely no reason to rush this, right? He's going to see the Horde mostly dead, but now if the survivors try to work their way up, he's going to jump in directly on them, getting that initial punch onto Nick as he jumps down for this police car. It bounces off the overpass sign, and now
what a double punch!
Multi-punch going out. Car is going to be flipping over again, not able to land quite yet, but he is getting another punch onto Deck along with that Charger, and the Hunter lands on a survivor who is way split. Tank's going to be jumping up, trying to get these last 2 survivors down. Rock goes in, magic to land on to Prove. Car is not going to be an issue yet because that's just the tank guarding this Hunter cap. Going for the death onto Kane, and they're going to get it. Oh my goodness, what an amazing tank so far from Dungeon. Curve Rock goes in as well as this Hunter is going to almost get the end cap onto Ellis. Rock going in, not going to land, but this is catastrophic now for Team EnVy. There's the end cap going out onto the jockey. Rock is going to barely miss Kimchi on the side. Boomer is up as well. Oh my goodness, this Boomer's going to go and get some beautiful triple boom along with the Rock landing in Deck's face. Spunky doing absolute work, getting another rock onto Kimchi. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be Team reHAB showing their dominance on their home server, just rocking these survivors to death in a position that they cannot really be in. There's the wipe.
Yeah, what a tank on Spongy. Great support coming out. Hammer getting a nice separation pound, Smoker landing slip for the 2 cap, and Spongy spreading the love nicely. He kept switching targets and got like multiple double punches, I'm pretty sure, so yeah. Great redemption coming out, and yeah, reHAB taking the lead already on map 3, and they have, I believe, roughly around like a 300-point lead. So this is almost like EnVy needs a miracle to win this. Honestly, like they need like a picture-perfect performance on SI on the next map, which is pretty unlikely to happen, I assume.
Right, I mean, remember, the tank that they're going to have to fight on this map is one of the tanks that usually doesn't do a massive amount of damage. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a pretty easy tank for the survivors to shut down, and right now, I mean, EnVy needs to make something happen, because right now, reHAB is doing what they need to do to win this game, to say the least. I mean, on their home server so far, they've scored 1.5k, and EnVy only managed to score 2.7k on their home server. So if Team reHAB are able to make this map with any kind of bonus, like a 1k or 1.5k, we'll see exactly what they get. Like, that could put the game away right now, not even have an issue with the scavenge finale.
Yeah, we saw in the Japan game that EnVy got a no-hitter. As I say, hits are going in already, like double boom landing, going in, gets shut down nicely. So yeah, good shutdown count for Pt.4. But like I said, like on the Japan server, we saw that EnVy got a no-hitter out of Dave's tank. So this could be the same case over here on the EU server.
Really could. I mean, and now Pt.4 / reHAB, you know, as they move their way forward, they're going to be playing this exactly at their pace. They know that survivors are going to be able to maybe even outrun some of these spawns from Team EnVy because they have that low ping now. They don't have to play as cautiously maybe, but they're still going to do the exact same style of play that we saw on the away server for them. You know, not trying to rush anything, and then maybe needing to make a play like Brian made last map on that tank if they need to, but they really don't want to have that be like their overall strategy going forward. They know they have the lead now, and they also don't have any reason to rush things as EnVy is trying to get any kind of damage on the SI side.
Definitely. See what they do, like they're taking this chop pretty slowly. They have a 2-2 coming up, a charger, jockey, spitter, and a boomer. They're all setting up above them, like hits going in, double boom landing, charge landing nicely as well, spitter on top of that, jockey going for the cover. Gives a shot god frames for some reason. Not a good player from deck, like giving Brian a free take out of the spit right there.
Yeah, that would have been better, honestly, had the jockey just gone forward and tried to hold the survivor in the spit. That's something where you don't ever want to really try to have a hunter or a jockey land on a survivor who has already been charged in the spit, because that will give them a bit of god frames, as you said. And, I mean, it's small instances like that that can really add up in a game like this, because every hit has, you know, the potential to do a huge amount of damage. We saw some beautiful special infected play on the last half from Team reHAB. Now, this is going to be a pounce landing, charger landing.
Nice double charge landing, though.
Wow. That was so close to doing fall damage shoe on to Dave.
If he would have gotten charged a bit higher, then might have even been like full end cap, because he flew pretty high.
I mean, on the last map, right, or on the last server, I should say, when this map was being played, we saw a brilliant tri-cap come out from reHAB, and that charger on the escalator can be extremely deadly since there's no real room for the survivors to juke it laterally. You can try to jump on top of the railings, but it doesn't usually work. This is going to be probably a 2-2 again. Yeah, actually 3 of them spit. Jockey, Smoker, Spitter, and a Hunter for this next hit for Team EnVy. I mean, at this point, you know, they should probably send a hit once here, and then they can get something else to prevent the survivors from rushing up those escalators.
Because if they go right now, they can maybe delay it long enough to not like let them take the escalator for free. As I say, it's going in right now. And then going in, double killing, tri-cap almost landing, good amount of damage coming out, long hand spit going on to coach, and that brings Dave around the 50 HP area, so good hit coming out from EnVy.
Yeah, and this is the kind of SI we want to see EnVy playing at this point. The problem is that they've already allowed the survivors to make the last safe room and get the lead on their side. So we're going to see Team reHAB go into this room and take a hit here, because it is probably the best spot to do that, regardless of the fact if the special infected have a spitter. You just kind of have everything come from one direction at the door and then see what can happen there. Boomer's going to spawn up and is going to die. I don't know. Do the survivors decide to push here? Probably not.
Probably gonna take one hit inside at least. Boomer got sacked. I'm not sure if they get a spitter or a hunter. I'm not sure when Hunter died. I think Hunter died last, so she get a spitter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, spit in that room can do a decent amount of damage as well if the charger's able to land on top of one of those cables, but instead it actually is going to be that quad cap. So now Team EnVy have a choice to make. They either send the quad cap in a room where it's most likely not going to get any damage, or they just wait out the entire rest of the event. But honestly, Team reHAB don't have to do anything right now. They're not bleeding.
I think a quad and close quarter is pretty hard, and especially low ping. It looks like they're sacking a smoker for some reason. It's going in, I believe? No, just smoker sacking. I'm gonna go for a spitter, which is smart, honestly.
I don't know how I feel about this, though, because that room is not going to do... Unless they have that charger land, like I mentioned before, with that spit, like, that's the most damage you can possibly get. I mean, I could see doing it against the team in that room if the team in the room was on higher ping, but right now, you know, with it being the home server for
I skied by Spongy.
Yeah, that was incredible. Jockey gets shut down, Charter gets shut down. This is kind of what we were talking about. Like, you got a little bit of damage, but now they're not going to have the hit they want for the escalator.
And the event's almost pretty much done. Like, it's the last wave coming out, and yeah, they're still looking in really good shape. Only like Dave and Brian taking a decent amount of damage.
Right, I mean, and now they have a Boomer and a Smoker for this escalator hit, but the survivors don't have to deal with any common as they run into it. So it is that 2-2 as well. Dave and Dusty on the top of this escalator now, blocking the spawns there and not really allowing the Special Infected Dina any chance to get those death pulls or in-cabs.
And they're already like taking the top area, and they have a 2-2, so they have a free run forward to the event, and they can maybe only get a hit inside.
Boomer spawns up in the back too, trying to get anything, but that is going to be just another spawn that gets sacked there, and Kimchi is going to be this tank for EnVy. This could make or break the match for them, honestly, because they need to stop Team reHAB as soon as they possibly can. Spitter is going to be spawned up already in the side here, Dina, so that might be the wall kick you were talking about.
Spitter's pre-spawning inside, so does the Hunter. Last spawn coming up is going to be a Jockey.
Thanks for turning off that alarm.
Not landing, though.
Dave just single-handedly shutting out the attacks, cutting the Smoker Tongue, getting the Skeet on the Cane. He getting baited, already like chipped pretty heavily.
Yep, and this is a different style of bait than we've seen Team EnVy use. It's just the survivors work their way into a room, and that shotgun, that first position shotgun, is so important to be able to back up as soon as those spawns come in, and that's exactly what we saw happen there again. And now, I mean, of all the tanks to have your fate of this match hinging upon, right, this is probably not the one that you want if you're Team EnVy, but they have to make the absolute most out of it as is up in the hands of Kimchi.
Yeah, they need a miracle wipe. They need a wipe. Nothing like if they only get like 2 or 3 in-cabs, that's not enough because they don't make safe room. They need a wipe on this tank.
Exactly, and the Boomer is probably not going to be able to land here, so that's why we see Team EnVy sacking that. But the problem is, everything kind of has a problem landing here, and without like some kind of early pull or some kind of like ledge that we saw happen on the other game, like it's very, very hard to get the wipe in this area just because it is so open. This is probably the best bet they're going to have, though, with that Smoker, Jockey, and a Hunter. Kimchi looking to not take any chips and then work his way in, which he's going to be doing right now. Let's see what they can make happen on this SI side. Jockey spawned down below. Smoker is looking for the in-cap as well, but Kimchi getting already railed down to 3.5k HP, and he is just nowhere near them. He's nowhere near them whatsoever, and the survivors, aka Team reHAB, they kill the Jockey. The Hunter's still looking, but there's just absolutely nothing that Team EnVy could do. There is your no-hitter tank, Dina, and I do believe we're going to have a winner soon if this bonus maintains itself to the safe room.
Same case what happened on Japan server, no hitter coming out from the infected team on the high ping, and yeah, that was picture perfect movement by reHAB, running back pretty early, chipping the tank coming in. Smoker got nicely picked there by Brian at the beginning, and yeah, absolute SI just get completely shut down. And they almost have like a 900 bonus coming up. This is huge for reHAB.
Yeah, reHAB holding all the cards right now. Smoker, Spitter, Charger, and Boomer for the next hit for EnVy, who have to be a tad bit deflated at this point. There's another Boomer pop going out. Charger's going to go in, not going to land. Smoker has nothing, and this is Team reHAB showing why they have been the best team in this game for the past like 4 years in terms of this dominance under how many different names, but they are carrying an absolutely incredible bonus up this escalator, and they only have to get right to that safe room with no other incident going in. They have all survivors moving fast and 3 survivors green. Dina, it's an incredible performance.
Definitely, like they're showing why they're definitely the strongest team since a couple years right now. I'm not sure if if they keep up this performance, they might even win the tournament at this point because they're playing so dominantly right now.
Yeah, this is something where, I mean, we expected a close match, and it sort of was. We had some amazing moments happen on the last server, but this is just utter dominance by Team reHAB on the EU server, which is what they're known for when they're playing on their home. This is going to be a Charger spawning up, not going to land. Hunter gets blown out of the sky. Spit is not going to do anything, really, and now it's going to be Riskburner, aka Brian, going to block that last spawn near the safe room while the rest of his team catches up, and this is about to be an astronomical health bonus as they work their way into the safe room here. Only that Jockey looking to spawn but doesn't have any room, and Team reHAB are going to bring their home server total to 2,987 points.
Almost reaching the 3K mark on that center after that first snap is pretty impressive from reHAB.
An average of about 1k points per map, and that is what you want to do on your home server. They managed to make up a little bit of the map 1 delta there, because map 1 they only had like a 300 point advantage, but now 2,987 to 344 as the scores stand right now. EnVy need to play immaculate survivor round to have any chance at making this, but I honestly think we could just be seeing Team reHAB taking it at this point.
If they wipe them pretty early, that might be even a G. I'm not sure if you're even gonna bother play finale at this point.
They could. I mean, it's optional in that case, but scavenge on that finale is one thing they could do. I mean, that's going to be real tough for Team EnVy, I would say. As this Charger manages to land in the safe room, Smoker, Boomer, and Hunter for the rest of this opening hit for Team reHAB. I mean, that didn't get a massive amount of damage, but the point is, it's going to come down to that tank, it's going to come down to the event. There are so many areas that Team reHAB can do so much damage on these hits.
Even though they like went for scratch and stuff, they still do a decent amount of damage on the deck and Finn right there, and they have the next set of spawns coming up. EnVy won't be able to rush forward past the escalator choke, I'm pretty sure, because they got slowed down by Common, so...
Indeed, they will be. That Spitter, Charger, Jockey, and Hunter are the next set of spawns for Team reHAB here. The survivors are going to be working their way down this escalator, but they're playing it so slowly because they need to right now. They really can't afford any kind of 3 caps or any kind of easy damage to go out onto them, and so they're going to make this as, you know, carefully as they can. As this Jockey's going to go in, trying to land. Charger goes in, does manage to land. There is a double cap. That was almost a 3 cap, but there's damage going out onto deck. He was unable to dodge that rocketing Charger, and we see this happen all the time from Team reHAB, Dina. They love those rocket spawns.
Rocket spawns, especially low, you can land those pretty easily, so good stuff coming out. Chipping deck and Kane further down, almost being like, they're close to getting slowed maybe after the next hit. And even next hit coming up, we got a Charger, Smoker, Jockey, and a Boomer. Pretty devastating hit for a high ping game for them.
Right, and this is going to be something where if that Boomer manages to land, it would be catastrophic. The Boomer pre-spawns itself on top and is going to die. Brian not able to land that the way that they would have wanted to. It's going to be a Jockey, Smoker, and a Charger for the rest. Jockey does manage to land onto a Survivor up top, and the Charger goes in onto deck, taking him far away from his team, getting 2 pounds for the in cap now. That is not what you want to be seeing if you are Team EnVy whatsoever.
It looks like EnVy's starting to crumble down slowly, like they're like not doing good at all. reHAB definitely had a better like survivor play on their ping away game, and yeah, EnVy's not able to copy that at all.
No, I mean, EnVy, like, and every time they've tried to move themselves with the right kind of spacing, they've dealt with a lot of damage. What a pounce in that spit as well, going out on to Kimchi. This Boomer Jockey Spitter combination can do a decent amount of work. Boomer spawns up on top of the boxes and is going to get M2'd and shut down, but that charge onto deck was just another example of how well Team reHAB Special Infected are working. They got an initial pin onto him and then just chained onto his back, which is exactly what you should do in a scenario like that, just to get that separation damage. Jockey, Smoker, and Spitter for this next hit coming up now, but again, Dina, they have 1 survivor bleeding before the event.
Definitely, and they've been smart enough to save the Spitter in those close quarter areas, which can make a big difference. And they have like charge split coming up, so.
And there it is. That Charger is going to go and managing to land once again onto Rochelle. Prove is now going to take the bulk of that spit damage, and he gets pulled into the spit puddle once again. This is an amazing amount of damage. Already over 200 damage coming out by Team reHAB on this. And the more we see them, Dina, the more impressive their SI gets.
And we already having lower bonus than what reHAB had at the safe room, and they have this whole event coming up, plus like the tank as well.
And the thing is, they have 1 survivor already bleeding, that's being deck, of course, and now the survivors kind of have to think to themselves, okay, if we want to sit here and deal with this on this level, that's fine, but they have to navigate that escalator with red ping. This is just not the scenario I think that EnVy want to be in whatsoever, but let's see what Team reHAB decides to do with that SI hit. It's going to be a Jockey, Hunter, Spitter, and a Charger for it. I mean, in this position, it's kind of really hard to get damage there. The most important thing is to have the bleed still continuing onto deck, and they could just decide to send in right now, but that is what they're going to do with that Jockey landing, and the Charger going to stumble
once
again. Deck is black and white.
Hard Charger played there from not sure who it was, standing inside a survivor, just chest bumping him and giving him a stumble into the split once more. So much damage coming out.
has a wild amount of damage onto deck. He's taken the vast majority of this. He is going to be black and white now, having to stand in the corner with the rest of his team. Hunter, Boomer, Smoker, and another spawn in about 3 seconds, but right now they can honestly just focus him, and that tank, right, if the tank is able to get any kind of help on the SI side of things, they could just be going for a kill on the deck.
Going right now, Smoker going to pull, gets a pull on the deck, this might be a kill!
Oh! He is absolutely dead. There's no way they're going to be able to clear that. That jockey is going to do it, and they didn't even need to wait for the tank to make it happen. That is one survivor dead. All the damage bonus gone. The health bonus down to 275. What an outstanding performance by Team
What a pull!
reHAB.
Oh my god, he almost got a pull off on the Kimchi right there.
Smoker was trying for it, but he goes for the one on the bottom instead. Charger might be trying to go for that survivor down below. Let's see if that's the case or not. But every single bit of separation that we've seen on a Team EnVy has been capitalized by Team reHAB. Charger going for punches onto Kimchi as well. That is going to be Kimchi's slow. EnVy are just getting dominated right now, Dina.
Yeah, they're completely getting demolished right now.
This is absolute, like I said, I keep going back to how impressive it is for reHAB to be doing this, but honestly, you know, with the fact that they've played in the community as the same 4 or 5 people for the past number of years, right, past 4 years-ish, that gives them such incredible cohesion. They don't even need the tank right now in order to make this a 1,300 point advantage that they're going to have, I'm fairly sure, at the end of this, coming down to a scavenge finale, which is not going to be on EnVy's side whatsoever.
Like I said, like, if they wipe right here, they will have, I think, even more than that, what you said. I think it's gonna be like, actually, yeah, you're right. It seems like a 1,400 difference. Nice kick out from Kane, though, like, in the end. He spotted pretty nicely. Boomer landing a single boom. Yeah, actually, good shot coming out for EnVy.
That is what they kind of need right now, but what they really need is for this tank to be a no-hitter. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It's up in the hands of Brian, and they probably already have an idea of what they want to be doing for that special infected support hit, just because it is so hard to get any kind of damage in that open area. It's going to be a Jockey Hunter and a Charger for the first hit, but with 3 survivors, honestly, this could be a bit easier for Team reHAB than we expected. He's going to be taking just a little bit of chip right there, trying to figure out what they want for those spawns.
Yeah, also, one survivor less, it means like it's gonna be way more less chip gun on the tank when he's going in, which can help him as well.
Indeed it could. This Charger's looking for it as that Hunter manages to land. Jockey going for the intercept, not going to get it quite yet. Rock is going to land, though, onto Kimchi as this Jockey lands, and that is one survivor already slow, Dina. This is going to be a wipe by Team reHAB once again.
Looks like Brian's trying to go for a long tank right there on this map.
I mean, hey, if he's able to keep curve rocking through that door the way he just did, he honestly could. But he's going to be down to 20% on his first pass. He has 1 survivor he can already catch, and so he is going to be taking a bit more damage there as he commits his way in. Kimchi trying to get as far away as possible, but instead, the tank intercepts onto Rochelle, managing to knock her into the slow range. Another punch landing onto Rochelle now. That is going to be the full end cap. Nice ski going out.
Kane.
That's unfortunate, though, for Team EnVy, considering the fact that Smoker was able to get a boom target right onto them right after that happened, after that skeet was able to be landed. And this is going to be just 1 survivor working their way forward. Kane going to get caught up to and put down. Team reHAB leading this match 2,987 to 776 on their home server. Dina, this has been one of the best performances by a team I think I've seen in all my time casting and watching competitive Left 4 Dead. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, people will be saying it's gonna be a close game, but like reHAB is just showing absolute dominance on the EU server, and they have like you said, roughly about like a 1.2k lead, which already EnVy needs to make safe room, and like a big bonus to even have a chance of coming back. They need to wipe reHAB, which probably won't happen honestly on this open map.
Right, I mean, it's possible to do with the hits after the first tank, but the first tank usually doesn't do a massive amount of damage whatsoever.
Anybody know who the race car guy is?
That is Jimmy Gibbs Jr., the greatest driver ever.
I mean, this is essentially
Jimmy
already a
Gibbs
situation
Jr.
where the game's
Man,
been decided
Southerners
for
make the
Team
weirdest
reHAB.
people famous.
I mean, Dead Center as well, obviously not your cookie cutter Dark Carnival Hard Rain Parish situation either, but I mean, it's a map that has been in the competitive community for years upon years too. I mean, both teams have shown they know how to play it. It's just something where I think the execution by Team reHAB has just been better than EnVy on both servers.
Definitely. You saw in the UA game, even though they had high ping, reHAB still did a decent amount. Like they're like, I think they made safe from map 1. They got wet map 2, but yeah, map 3 and map 4, they did a way better job on the UA game than what EnVy does right now.
Right, and that's the thing that I think really did make the difference so far. Like, the fact they were able to keep it that close just based off their cohesion was incredible. It's going to be a deck tank for Team EnVy here, won this last map. EnVy still fighting it out until the bitter end here. Smoker, Spitter, Charger, and Jockey, but they were probably already, you know, partially thinking of what they can do differently going forward in the tournament. They're obviously still a powerhouse team, and this is a matchup between two heavyweights, but this is going to be something now where Team reHAB, you know, can just kind of, again, play at their pace, work their way forward, and Dave is baiting this choke out as much as he possibly can.
He's setting up in front for this first hit. Smoker has an interesting spot spawning, actually, on the ladder on the left.
Charger
Actually missing his jump. Oh, that's so lucky.
Yeah, spit spread goes out as well, but the survivors are able to just pretty much dodge that now. I would say that, like, with that spitter going in and already dying, like, these hits by Team EnVy are coming in kind of staggered, and it's honestly because I think this has been the complete momentum shift towards reHAB's side, probably starting, honestly, on the finale on the away game for them, because they were able to get more points than EnVy on that map, and that was super duper important for them going forward.
Now all we got to do is find it and gas it up, and I will drive it out of here.
Well, it
All
beats
right,
my
let's
idea.
see here.
Staying here, dying in the mall.
Okay, now this ain't the
They
first time I
really
tried to pull
can't,
out of
you
a
know,
car show.
I don't know, the thing on EnVy's side is that they can't really help themselves in this scenario, right? Like, they have a tank that's super easy to kill, they have a scavenge finale that they aren't maybe as practiced with on high ping. I mean, there's so many ways this can still go wrong, and reHAB are now going to be killing that Hunter as this tank is up in the hands of deck for Team EnVy, as we mentioned before. But Dina, I mean, this is a tank that doesn't usually get a massive amount of damage. They need a 3-cap here or something.
They need a Mercury free cap to land in wide, but that's gonna be pretty hard for them. Especially if, like, they have free chip boosts also, so if they try to go for long, he's gonna get chipped pretty heavily by the survivors.
Indeed, he could. I mean, he's already down to, he has 5,975 HP still. He's gonna have to maybe avoid all the chip that he possibly can due to the fact that this actually needs to be a wipe. And the only way that I've really seen this tank wipe, honestly, is if the survivors are pushed back to the spot underneath those 3 awnings, right? Where the survivors can get rocket spawns on top of their heads. That boomer is gonna die. I don't know, Dino, what do you think the ideal setup is for committing here?
My opinion, Hunter, Smoker, and Jockey, like, the easiest to land on ping and also, like, in the open area, so those 3 are, like, the go-to in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's actually a factor as well. We saw a bit of the long arms coming out earlier in this game, but Deck is going to have to use all of the resources he possibly can to get this wipe. Getting chipped again down to under 5,700 HP. So, you know, every little bit of chip that Team reHAB can get, they're going to try and take. Now this tank is going to be jumping off, going in with this, what is it, 158 ping arms. Hunter is going to land in the corner there. He's going to be going for...
What an arm, though!
That is what we kind of wanted to see in terms of those long arms. Getting another punch onto Dave, but the SI support is going to be shut down and dead. There's the in-cap going out, and now Deck is going to be left with 1.2k HP and not really a whole lot he can do with it, unfortunately. As he works his way around it, he is going to die with just 1 in-cap.
Does it hurt?
That's the Deck could do. Like, he got an in-cap on Dave, but SI got shut down pretty nicely, so couldn't do much more right there.
Indeed, he could not. So now this is going to be a Jockey Spitter in the spawn queue for Team EnVy, and they have to play Scavenge Can defense here, as we saw on the last server. It's going to be the Hunter and Boomer for the rest of this 2-2. I think right now Team reHAB know that they really just have to put in a few of the cans to actually get this to work for them and take this game home. Here comes the spit, not going to land on anything, so this is going to be the first 3 cans put in. They're going to be doing this as efficiently as possible on their home server, Dina. And this is something too about these scavenge finales. I mean, they already have 5 cans in the blink of an eye.
They have 2 more cans coming up. Dave's going for the last 2 cans, so they have 7 cans already in. And split of like 1 hit. Spitter just going for the delay, but he won't be able to fill that, like delay it even further.
That happened so fast for Team reHAB here. They are going to be putting in these cans, as you just mentioned. They're going to have 7, almost 7, with absolutely no problem. Spit's going to go down again, but it's not going to be able to do anything except delay the survivors just a bit. And honestly, like, with the hit timing there, the Spitter has to be ready to spit right after the pinners go in, because if they can get somebody to land, you know, then they can pretty much just absolutely have the cans that were already in the hands of the survivors, right? They can just get completely decimated there if they're able to get a pin while survivors pouring, but we haven't seen that happen so far.
It looks like Pt.4 might be able to get like 2 or 4 more cans. prior to tank. They're actually opting up for the long cans, like in the far back, which is maybe smart.
Right, I mean, if the tank spawns up here, they can do something about that. That's a clear of the Smoker Tongue going in as well. The Spitter is also going to die. Kane not able to get any real burns there off that first sequence. And honestly, they're on the floor to where they could get all of those cans in, maybe even as the second tank is spawning. This is about to be wild.
Might be able to opt to fill all the cans before the tank even goes in. Like, they're already filling and they're getting the last 2 cans.
Yeah, this has been quick work by Team Frag4. Hunter spawning up, not finding anything, however. This is going to be pretty much an ace of this finale by Team reHAB. I am so impressed by the way they were able to do that. And if there's one team that could have, it would be either them or EnVy. But they're going to be putting those 2 cans still in. And there's the last one. There's only been 1 tank. That is absolutely incredible by Team reHAB as they get out of this finale against Team EnVy on their home server, and they put up an absolutely astounding total of, let's see, it's going to be somewhere 4,551 points on their home server.
Tank just spawned, so that was so quick by reHAB. My god.
1,564 points on the finale of Dead Center to EnVy's total 776. Absolutely dominating performance by Team reHAB. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
They literally managed to just get all the cans in that position, right? By trusting their team's, you know, individual shutdowns, right? They had no issue with that on Survivor side whatsoever because nothing was able to land onto them.
Man is America's greatest natural resource. I would take
They only got like the 1 in-cap on the Dave pretty much, and other than that, they got shut down pretty nicely on all the rest of the hits.
Exactly. I mean, this is a Spitter not being able to get a big amount. Actually, 34 damage going out onto deck, unfortunately. I was going to say not a massive amount, but then when I rechecked the health, it was like, well, they're still managing to do a decent amount of damage with each one of the hits that they get. And EnVy now, you know, with the ping, they're going to have to just deal with this event, but they have to first kill the early tank, which can honestly get a fair amount of damage just on its own if it's a rock tank. I am just not happy if I'm in EnVy's position at this point because, you know, this is one thing where we were expecting the game to be fairly close, and I guess it still sort of is, but this home server dominance, Dina, by reHAB is the story of the match.
They've been like showing up big time on the EU game. They did a decent job on the away game, but home game, Frag4, like I said, is pretty scary.
Honestly, I think they're one of the hardest teams in the history of the game to beat or even have anything close to them on their home server, and they're showing it once again right here. Hit's gonna go in. That is gonna be a pop and
triple charge coming out!
Oh my
god!
Triple charge in the elevator by Dave right there as this jockey is gonna pull deck all the way away from his team. That is another glorious amount of damage. Again, it's the SI play by Team reHAB that is so dominant. Their Survivor does what they need to do, and they score a massive amount of points, but their cohesion on Special Infected is unmatched. I mean, Dusty has what, 5.6k HP still. Boomer, Smoker, Hunter for this next hit. He again has no reason to really go in until a boom lands or he gets that 3-cap, I would say.
Probably opting to go for a long pin maybe. Still like, Boomer going in, nice pop there by, not sure who was, but yeah.
Prove shutting down that Boomer.
Yeah, they're saving the rest of it, which is not a bad idea, I guess, because Dusty already has second pass and he has to come in pretty soon.
It's going to be a Smoker and a Hunter and another spawn coming up for Team Frag4 here. He's going to be working his way in with this tank in the front of the Survivors. Now going around to the side, dropping underneath. Charger, Smoker, Hunter for support, as we saw before, but the tank is not quite able to get anybody cornered on his own. He's being kited around on those tables. Now he's going to manage to get a punch on the deck, and that's going to be a double landing. Oh my goodness, is it going to end like this? I think it just might. Dave has that Charger still going for that in-cap there. 3 Survivors are down. Dusty getting the hit on the Kimchi in the corner. 2.4k left, jumping up and managing to hit him on that stairwell as well. The 2 SI down there are still doing their work. That was a nice kite by Kimchi, but there's no more to be said for it. Team reHAB absolutely dominating Team EnVy on the home and away series that we just saw. 4,551 to 848 on the EU server for a total win of just about 2.9k points. Dina, that was utterly incredible.
Yeah, what a performance by Pt.4. Absolutely demolishing EnVy on the home game. Like, winning roughly around, I believe, like over like 2.5k points, I'm pretty sure. That was really impressive right there, and showing like, yeah, reHAB maybe even like winning this whole tourney. We'll see how it goes. But if EnVy wants to like step up to Pt.4, they need to step up their game for sure, especially on the home game.
Indeed, they have to. But for right now, I mean, that just shows how dominant Team reHAB has been in this community over the past couple of years. And for any team that wants to go up against them, they really need to have that practice, I would say, on the ping. Plus also the fact, right, that like on their home server, they needed to maximize that. Like, they need to be making maps. They got wiped on the first tank and they weren't able to make it. You know, that's something that in a 4-map campaign you really can't afford to have happen. But with that being said, we have another slate of matches coming up later today following this one. Thank you everybody for watching this and for the entire community's support of RBT5 so far. I mean, it's games like that we really look forward to, and that we super we're super excited for more of those to be happening as we go forward. Dina, any last kind of thoughts before we sign this cast off?
I would say, I think, watch everybody think of casting rails, and yeah, see you guys next time.
Exactly, and I want to give another shout out to the server owners and also, of course, to Vanel for being our dedicated streamer. The schedule of matches, you can see them on the spreadsheet, or also we're going to be sending a couple of announcements into the RBT5 group just to announce when they go live. And aside from that, congratulations to Team reHAB for doing something absolutely amazing in this game in terms of that performance. Commiserations to Team EnVy, but we expect to see both of them later on in the tournament as things go forward. So, I've been Rails Barlow, one of your tournament administrators and one of your casters for today's game. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you soon.